Here we go. It's cool. Cool stuff.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chaos Corner podcast live. My name's Steve.
Yes. My name's Donovan.
And my name's Hedley.
Hey, you won't be able to see him yet, but we actually have a guest with us today. So we've been trying to hook this up for a little while, trying to get guests on, but we finally figured out the technology, he says, with everything crossed. We're just going to bring our first ever live guest into shot now. And I'm just hoping that all the technology works. So let's see if we get this going. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. And there he is. He's on the screen.
Hi,
Hello,
everybody.
Hedley.
Hello. It's working.
We are live. So I'm just going to head over to the Chaos Corner now, just so that I can let everybody know we are live. Guys, if you're watching this for the very first time, we've now started doing them on Facebook as a live stream, but you will, if you're not able to watch the whole interview, be able to watch this back on YouTube and on Facebook, and you can even listen to the audio experience over on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. So it's going to be everywhere. So today we have a guest, Hedley Wiggan. I've been digging into your work. I've been digging around, having a look about, all the stuff that you do, or as much as I can.
I think we call it research in the industry, don't we?
Yeah.
Stalking.
But could you, for anyone that doesn't know who you are, could you just, could you summarize, I suppose, what it is that you do? I suppose that'd be quite hard. I don't know.
Well, like I said, it's just art. I sculpt, paint. Basically anything I can kind of get my hands on, and work with any material, I'll try and work with that. But it's just the art, creativity, So I really enjoy it.
No, obviously.
Come on, Bursting. You doing another one? Go on, and you go.
No, I was just about to say that. I was just about to say. Sorry, we got a viewer on already. Hello, Nick. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Nick.
Your art is very unique, and we're going to talk about that in a little while. But as Donovan said in the group chat, there is something that we like to do to our guests and put them on the spot just a little bit. Don, if you want to fire away with this one.
Okay, well, this goes back to our first ever podcast that we did. Firstly, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real honour.
Oh, you're welcome.
An artist of your calibre on this show.
You're welcome.
Proper psyched.
You're welcome. It's an honour. It's an honour. That's right.
What we did in our first ever episode is we had a conversation about our favourite, because it was the intro episode. We thought it'd be prudent to have a chat about our favourite intros, intros to songs and intros to films. We locked ourselves in. This was a mistake, I believe. We locked ourselves into 3 top intros each. It was horrendous. And then we got a guest on. Yeah, we got a guest on. I think it was Gareth Millward, our first ever guest guitarist, and we made him do 3 as well. And then we realised that it's a bit too much to ask for someone to box into 3.
Yeah.
So if you could maybe just off the top of your head, just throw us out a couple of your favourite song and movie introduction scenes.
I'd probably say I do like Nights Over Egypt, the Jones Girls. I love that. Every time you hear that track, Movies, I like Great Expectations. I just like the intro to that because it's very bleak and the wind, and I love that. And Scent of a Woman as well. I like that one. That's another film I like.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that film.
Pacino, isn't it? Pacino.
Is it the
fantastic?
Pacino being his typically measured self with his acting.
Yes.
It's got cotton wool buds in it.
They just get him. They just get him and fit him into films, don't they? And it just works.
Here's the story. Just go.
Yeah. Cool film.
Well, there you go. He dealt with that okay, to be fair.
Yeah.
Smashed that didn't he? Like he was already ready for it.
Right. Yeah, he was a little bit.
Got to get more challenging.
He was prepared.
Yeah, well, a little bit now. We'll get it now.
So how have you you just mentioned off air, lockdown's been a bit weird because you haven't seen anyone. This is like first really seeing anybody and talking. What has lockdown been for an artist like yourself? How have you found it and how you coped?
Well, in many ways, I suppose it hasn't changed. It's just the choice has been taken away, because obviously artists and isolation, the two go hand in hand, because it's very antisocial, it is very antisocial. But the choice is just to go and say visit family and visit. That's been taken away. So basically, I've just got to home in on and just carry on doing what I've been doing, and obviously, like I've had family call me, friends and over half, but it's not the same because the choice is different, just the choice is totally different.
It's psychological, isn't it? Choosing to isolate yourself is very different to knowing that you can't see anyone even if you wanted to.
Yes.
A very different mindset.
Yeah. So
do you find that, like, because I was talking to a musician the other day and he's the opposite of me. I found it difficult to find any inspiration from the lockdown, but he's probably wrote the most number of songs I think I've ever seen him write. And they're probably some of his best stuff he's ever done as well. And he said from out of the bleakness of the whole thing, he's actually managed to conjure up lots of stuff. I suppose it's different for different people.
Well, I think it's kind of like it's like therapy, because it doesn't matter if I'm in a mood or if I'm on a bit of a downer, I can throw it in a canvas, and then when you come away from that canvas and all your stress and whatever it is, anxiety or whatever, it kind of stays on that canvas. When you walk away, you see what you've done. It kind of cleanses it in a roundabout way,
Okay, that's awesome. So he hasn't slowed you down then? He hasn't really hindered you at all, hampered you?
No, not at all. I think probably at first it did. It was a bit of a weird one,
Adjustment.
But then as well, it's like I always say, when you get that, I don't call it like a mental block. I always call it like the download period, even if like you just sat around and you're taking everything in and you might not be aware of it, but you're kind of storing all these things. It's like if you got, take pictures with your phone or, a camera. And then when you do come back and you sit down, you probably get about 6 ideas from that and you just kind of throw it all together. So I always call it like that download period, just to chill out period,
That's as positive, a really positive spin that is.
Yeah.
I must have spent a lot of time on download because I couldn't write a word. I couldn't write a word, Hedley. I really couldn't.
I was going to say, sorry, it comes to us all, it's like that moment when, I say, you're doing something, you probably make a cup of tea or coffee every day, and then somebody points a camera at you and says, right, make a cup of coffee, and you be aware of that, so you kind of, you change a bit, but it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if it takes you weeks. I've not done anything for a year, or 6 months. But I've just been scribbling, taking pictures, and it all just comes into play. It just comes in.
Awesome.
I totally get it.
We've got a few people watching now, and I'd just like to say, if during watching this, guys, Karen's just said one of the greatest artists on the comment section there.
Thank you.
Big compliment there for you. If you've got any questions, just throw them in there. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat as we go along. I suppose I haven't got great eyesight, right?
Okay.
So, and your art is very unique. Now, and before we talk about it, I've had this conversation with Donovan before, where there's a lot of artists throughout history, and I look at a lot of art and I just go, "That's not art. That's like someone's just threw something up a wall."
Yeah.
What is it, guys? Stuck a banana to a wall. What is going on? That's not art. If my 5-year-old came home with that and wanted to put it on the fridge, you straight at the bin. Right, that kind of art. Right.
Yeah.
But I looked at some of the stuff you've done, and it literally, I was like, how? Like,
well,
especially the teeny tiny. For those that don't know, explain what it is that you do. Like some of it.
Well, I do.
It's just incredible.
Miniature
sculpt,
sculptures.
Miniature sculptures on the end of pencils, on the lead. Well, not the lead, because obviously teachers say lead. It's actually graphite. On the end of the graphite, and basically, I mean, it all came around by accident because I was actually sharpening a pencil to draw something, and it broke, and it looked like a hand, it looked like a fist, basically. So then my brain was thinking, how can I, make it? How can I, sort of sculpt it? How can I sculpt this thing? So what I had to do was mess around, and then I was making all my own tools, like pins and things, and then I started scraping away at it. But obviously, when you got the shape of a pencil, because the diameter, you can only do things in that diameter, basically, in that sort of space. So what I had to do was, I mean, I've not got them in, actually. I invented this. It was like some glasses, and it's got like a lens on it.
Yeah.
So I was using that to sculpt this pencil, and then I realised I had to kind of get something that I could actually magnify it. But I can actually sculpt them with the naked eye, but when you've got to do faces and things like that, then you've got to go smaller. You need like a microscope or a magnifying glass, so you can just get the detail. Yeah.
How old was you the first time you did that? When you discovered that, how old were you?
Well, I'd probably say about 10 years. 2010. I mean, I've always done art. I've like drawn and stuff. I used to do like kids' homework, at school for the school puddings. I'd swap them, sort of drawing them a bit for the school puddings. So I'd probably say I've been doing art from school, and then I sort of started like really seriously probably 2010.
Okay. Okay. Well, I've got it's kind of in keeping with what Steve's been saying, and I must say, Steve, just a little rib here. Steve is from the school of artistic appreciation, that he looks at something and says, and tell me if I'm wrong, Steve, but he looks at something and says, if I can do that, it's not art. And I get what you mean. We look at your art and go, I definitely couldn't do that.
No, I 100% couldn't do that.
You are from that school, yeah. Yeah, I thought so. But everyone's got a different take on it. Everyone's got a different take.
It's different. It's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
I think we came to the conclusion in the end that art is anything visual.
Yes.
Or sound emotion that gets people talking, even if it is a banana sellotape to a wall.
Yes. Yeah.
You're never going to let that go, are you, Steve?
Say again.
You're never going to let the banana tape.
No, I hate that thing. I just can't believe it.
No, I've seen it as well. But then I always think as well. Is it art, Hedley? No, I'm one of these. It depends on. I look at things differently, right? Just say if I was, how can I say? Just say like Brad Pitt, right?
Okay.
And I got an orange peel and I just stuck it to a piece of paper and I threw it out there. People would want to buy it because they'd say it was Brad Pitt and then it would become art and it's just crazy. It's not. It's just easy, I mean, there's lots of things out there that are very easy.
Isn't it? That's hysteria, isn't it?
Yeah. But then somebody's saying it's art and putting it on the internet and saying it costs, how much was it? £5,000, was it, for that banana or something?
No, it was something like that. It was something crazy, like crazy amount of money. And then the person, didn't they just eat it?
Yes. Yeah, the person,
the person who bought it just ate the banana.
It's a decadent statement, isn't it? I'm going to eat it because I can afford.
Yeah.
Who's the biggest douchebag? The person that made it or the person that bought it and ate it? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and was it real? I always think, because obviously what you see on the internet is what you believe, and it's like I say, see that and somebody can make something look really well and, say, look, this banana's just gone for $5,000. And then people will be, look at this, and we just don't know. Was it 5,000 or was it just a...
Was it a hoax?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think so my question was, it is going back to something that Steve mentioned. Your formative years, you did say that you'd always drawn and painted.
Yeah.
Can I ask who your original inspiration for being artistic was? I know it's a natural thing that's within you, but is there someone that's a tipping point of a person or a piece of art that you saw that made you go, that's me, that's what I want to do? Spare time or whatever.
I suppose it's gonna sound really crazy because it's like I said, I've always done art, but my my mum used to sketch. She's just draw eyes basically, and she'd just be sketching these, but she'd never done anything more than just an eye. But it was perfect, you know.
Yeah.
And I had to look at them. I never really kind of, sort of, thought about it until I was older, because obviously sketching and that. So I thought, well, I just want to kind of carry it on from there, basically. Do you know what I mean? Sort of take it on. So I suppose, like my mum, I do like Salvador Dali as well. And there's, I think there's Monet and Manet as well. There's two of them on. I like those.
There is,
as well, I like those as well. Yeah, they're my favourite. Because I think they're proper artists. You can see the work and you can see the effort and
and
it's gone into it. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So you went from the sculpting, like you say, from quite. Is that what kicked you? You said you did art before that, but the sculpting kind of.
Yeah, I think what it was is the sculpting's. It's more like it was just different. I think that's what was just like the difference. I mean, when you think of like art, it's different because you get a canvas and you can throw it, you can make a mess, you can do whatever, let all your frustrations out. But with a pencil, you got to breathe, you got to concentrate, you got to focus, and control.
Your hands must be steady as a rock.
Yeah. Well, my mum, honestly, she used to, when she was sewing stuff, every time she'd give me the needle and I used to thread it first time,
that's natural
8,
then, yeah.
7, just straight through, just first time all the time,
Bernadette on the comments has said, have you ever had the urge to create something huge? And if not, why not?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to, yeah. I mean, at the moment, it's just space. Because obviously, that's my next thing. I mean, I want to get into, I like glass. I like metal as well, like sort of, not say silver, but you get these brass, sort of sculptures and things. And I love stuff like that. But, eventually, time permitting and when everything kind of settles down and I get move to a, better place, I want to go bigger and, I want to have a go at a big sculpture,
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We've got a few more questions coming through, but they're going to have to wait in line, man.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait. People are going crazy.
Yeah, Nick's just asked one as well. I'll ask Nick's one. Nick J. Mellis wants to know, if you wasn't an artist, what profession would you have chosen?
If what? Sorry, say that again. It was just...
If you weren't an artist, what profession would you have chosen? Obviously secondary. What was the second choice?
Probably a dancer. Dancer. Nice. I love music. Yeah,
so there's no way you was going to get away from the art in some way.
No. It was all there and dancing. Yeah, or music. Something like that.
Have you ever tried combining dancing and art at the same time? You wouldn't be able to sculpt and dance at the same time.
No, it's. I mean, I've had some ideas with paint and stuff, but that'll be. I need a room where I can just make a lot of mess and yeah. But I have thought about that, definitely. Yeah. Very visual,
Yeah.
Awesome.
One of the things I really quite liked on one of your, I don't know if it was your quote as such. Obviously, it's a famous saying, but you said that the pencil is mightier than the sword, and you did the sword sculpture from the pencil, and I thought that was pretty cool because. It is amazing what you can create with something just so small. The thing I wanted to know, and it's just, again, it's probably simple to you, but it's just the sheer, the amount of detail that you manage to get in such a small image. Do you think that that's any easier doing it smaller or more? Does it make it more difficult? I mean, where'd you find paintbrushes that thin? That was the first thing I thought of.
Well, I have to, and I can't. You won't be able to see it on here. Actually, you won't even see the end of it. But what I have to do is there's actually like one hair of a brush on there, which I've had to just basically get a blade. I buy brushes and I cut them so they're just like one blade. So I'm one hair. So I'm painting with that hair.
Wow.
Because obviously a big brush. I don't know if you watch these. I don't know if you've ever seen it. You get giants, and then the brush is that, and then when it comes into the piece of work, it's like that. So it's too big. It's the same with a scalpel blade. If you're trying to, people say to use a blade to sculpt stuff. By the time you've gone down to the actual sculpture, the blade's too big. So what I have to do is, I've got sorry, I'll just show you. I've got like pins basically,
No.
and I have to sand the pin down and make it so I can then make that smaller to sculpt
You have
away
to-
with a
You have to make a pin thinner.
yes to
Turning my brain
you know,
into porridge.
so, yeah, it's just crazy.
It makes
yeah.
anything that I've done previously just sound so pathetic.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
some serious dedication there.
yeah.
I mean, how long does it take to strip a paintbrush of its
Oh well, it's
hairs?
pretty easy really, because what I have to do is if I get it on say a piece of wood and then I'll put it on there and then I'll put that on and then I'll just turn the actual brush and then the blade will just cut it and then I keep looking to see, and then when there's like one or two hairs, then that works, you know.
Your paintings, like I've looked at obviously some of the smaller ones that you've done in the kind of like, are they brooches or something like?
Yeah, brooches. Yeah. It's
But some of your bigger stuff, which again I'm not a big painting fan, but some of your stuff, the prints, you did the one at Princeton, yeah, and the one with the elephant. I did that. Those were my two favourites. But you've got it seems like stylistically, the bigger stuff looks to me. I haven't seen all of your work obviously, but it looks to me like there's almost like two different styles going on there. Is that deliberate, or is that just because of the intricacy of the smaller stuff?
It's probably different because of the size. I mean, obviously when you're painting bigger, obviously bigger strokes, and so you got more volume, and then the smaller you get, it just gets condensed basically. So then you've got to cram everything in, so it just makes it tighter. Just so you get more.
Yeah.
Obviously I can sit on a chair. I can paint my hands, and I can hold it and I'm chilling out. But basically when I'm standing up, I'm throwing my whole body, so I suppose just changes the style,
That brings me on to a question in regards to your miniature art and sculpture. When you're doing something on a bigger scale, does it feel quite freeing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I can breathe.
Yeah, I can free. Yeah, I can. It's I've tried to explain to people, because sometimes you get people, and I've turned stuff down because I say, "Oh, can you paint me a car?" And I'm like, that's like technical drawing. It's very lines and everything's all kind of
measured, and it has
sort
to be
of measured. Yeah, and that's not me. I could do an abstract one with wonky wheels and and sort of things like So it's totally different. So what the point I was trying to say is like it's just different mindset, different techniques. More relaxed as well. But it's like you say, you're right, Donovan, with a bigger painting. It's like what can I say? It's like Tai Chi basically, because you're painting and you're breathing, and it's like exercise.
Talking of breathing, Bernie, one of our longest serving dwellers, she mentioned it was something I was going to ask, but because I thought about it yesterday and then forgot to ask, but she's reminding me now. Your heart rate and your breathing and state of mind when you're in that zone, because like it's like a sniper, isn't it? You take shot, you've got everything to think about.
Steady hand.
Do you find yourself holding your breath for long periods of time? Are you quite free flowing with it, or?
Sometimes I think it's actually weird, because you do the smaller stuff. When you start, it's okay, but then when you get down to the smaller detail, then I'm kind of chilling out. Sometimes I've done stuff and I've had to, because I've forgot to breathe. It's weird. It's like it's a funny feeling, and then my heart will just sort of, but then it'll go back, and then I'll just sort of step away and then go back to it basically. So yeah, definitely, it is. Breathing is different.
And would you typically tend to do them in one sitting, or do you come back to them, or?
I come back. Depends on sometimes I'd probably say they could take a week, 2 weeks. Sometimes longer. But sometimes I'll do one and then I think I can see it in my head.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to get it. So I have to kind of break away from it and keep coming back, and then obviously with the eyes as well, you kind of get like 10 minutes, you're looking at it, and then you have to come away because you start seeing double. So you have to give your eyes a break,
Yeah.
To give yourself a break, yeah.
Stuff, man.
There was something I wanted to ask you. There was when we have interviewed artists before, painters. Matt Lloyd was one that we interviewed, and there's some similarities between things that you say. So going back to when he was at school, all he wanted to do was draw. He did well at art, but he wasn't really interested in too much else. All he wanted, that's all he wanted to do all the time.
Right.
And obviously the education system doesn't allow, especially in the UK, doesn't allow much.
Just get churned through. Yeah.
Breathing space. So did you, as being a born creative, as I think a lot of people on the corner are, I think we've had very similar situations. When it came to education for you, was there challenges, or were you kind of felt like you were being forced into a box that you felt like you can't make a living out of this because it's a bit of a pipe dream? Is that why you came into being a selling artist so much later? Was that anything to do with your beginnings, or?
I'd probably say, yeah, you're right, but it's like I say, you probably understand this. When you was at school, I mean, when I was at school, it was the girls done sewing and cooking, and the guys done metalwork, and then that was it. So you've got to go in a factory, and the girls was going to sew and cook, yeah. So when I left school, it was like, what am I going to do? I knew what I wanted to do, but in the reality, really, you got to get a job. You got to work. You got to pay the bills. Art is a road. It's kind of less traveled because it's not that kind of thing that you can, unless you've got you come from a rich background.
But it's
got a bit big.
Get the eye rolling when people say, the parents, they don't like if they say their boyfriend's an artist. You see a parent's face go, all right, okay.
Yeah. It's a hobby. Still see it as a hobby. People don't see it as kind of a, well, it is for me. It's like a job, basically. But it's people kind of, they do take it seriously, but they don't. It's a funny thing, I've noticed.
Well, I know firsthand. I was working, and Donovan knows my journey as well. Like, this year was my first proper full year being self-employed,
right,
in the sort of filmmaking video space, which is something I've always wanted to do. Got myself into that position, and then obviously we've had lockdown, and I've barely filmed a thing. But we still managed to work through it. But it's difficult, and we've talked about this before. I can't go back now. I can't. Now I've had that freedom to be creative.
Freedom.
I can't go back. I feel like almost that the idea of having to go back into full-time employment doing something I don't want to do, it feels almost like someone's about to sentence me. Yeah,
definitely. The reality is kind of it's like I said, this situation now is going to make a lot of people realise, obviously, being self-employed, you've got more freedom, if you can do it, and you can, or say can handle it, just keep going, keep going.
The one thing that lockdown has taught me, though, is the money aspect of what I was doing used to be quite a big driving force for me because there's a lot of money in my industry. Whereas now I've realised actually how much money we waste on stuff because we're not buying it anymore, and we've had to really sort of get by on much less money over the last 12 months. The money aspect is almost gone now. Like, I actually find myself now not even thinking about that anymore because I realise actually all the stuff I wanted just wasn't important.
Yes.
And actually just spending time with family now seems more important than ever.
Yeah.
And actually being able to be creative and be in that position in the first place now seems far more valuable to me now than any amount of money that I'll ever make. So I think if lockdown's done anything, I think it's taught us maybe the true value of things.
Definitely. I was about to say, it's done that for a lot. It's given us chance to be quiet and take stock.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's been nothing else to do. The noise of the outside world was completely cut off. It was a vacuum. And yes, while that's challenging, and yes, while that has been a bit oppressive for some people, I think if you take it apart, I think I mentioned I've done so much self-assessment over this time.
Yeah.
Me as a man, me as a father, me as a husband, me in general. It's not always been pretty. No one wants to stare at themselves in the mirror for too long because it's not always pretty, is it? Not things about yourself aren't always the most attractive, but it's good and I think it's healthy to face them.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I wanted to. Any other questions coming through? Because I'm gonna.
Yeah, well, we've got Karen Juliet Alexander, who's put a couple of posts, and she's been doing a great job, by the way, of sharing this video stream as well. I've noticed she's shared it a few times. So
Did you go back
Karen.
a long way, do you? Or? Is she a friend of yours?
Yes, she's my mother half.
There you go.
She's in Australia, so everybody will see it over there as well.
Oh, okay. Well, she's just put, are you ever going to create large garden sculptures with way out ideas? Something like Edward Scissorhands type stuff.
Please call that, yeah.
I feel like that's a private conversation that's just made it live.
I'll go, yeah, tell her.
Go on, then, that's the question, Billy. Come on.
Yeah, I will. Yes, when I'm free, when I keep saying when I get parole, because at the moment I feel like I'm in it's like prison, when I get out, when I get out, I'll do me London accent. When I get out of this place, yeah,
So not only have you managed to do what you've done, but you've also caught the eye, I see, of some sort of a celebrity attention in the past as well. How does that feel? When you get the likes of Harry Styles and people like that looking at your work and think, what? How does that feel?
I mean, it's all right, but I can't explain it really. I'm like a bit of a no frills guy, because when people saying Harry Styles and. They're cool, they're cool and that, but I'm very laid back with everything, I don't sort of, I don't let anything kind of, sort of, how can I say, not say go to my head, but I'm just very level-headed, I'm very chilled, I used to get told at school, I never get excited about anything, but I was just really laid back, really laid back, so...
That's a good way to be, though.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool. It's good. And it's good for like publicity. But yeah, I'll just keep going.
Well, yeah. Well, cause I know that you've definitely made press a few times, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I think
the
people.
Olympic torch as well.
Yeah, that was the very first one. And I said I was sharpening a pencil at like a hand. Yeah. Well, that's when I made it into the Olympic torch, because it looked like I thought I'm going to try and do a hand holding a torch, So that was the very first one I've done.
What a great one to start with.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, again, I think this has come up before, so it does interest me when I speak to artists that are jobbing artists, that people that do this for a living. There are... I dare say there are aspiring artists on the corner that may want to know this. I know I do.
There's a few great artists on the corner, by the way.
Oh, gosh, yes. I wanted to ask, have you any advice for any kind of younger, maybe budding artists to become a jobbing artist, as opposed to just trying to sell the odd piece of work here and there? Any advice when they're first starting out?
Well, gosh, it's like I said, I think it's just, I've been very lucky, but at the same time, I'm very cheeky, A lot of people will, you've probably seen it yourselves, and they'll do stuff and the confidence isn't there, I think the first thing, you've got to have confidence, But what I used to do was, I've not done it for a while, I'd paint something, sculpt something, and then it has to be on the internet. And I'd look on the internet, and I used to send emails to random this, random that, and we've sending it's like fishing, because you send out 20 hooks, and you'd always get probably 2 or even 1, and then that one person would pass you on to somebody else. So it was just a lot of cheek, because obviously when I was younger, you see all these artists, and I'm sure people do it with Banksy. They see Banksy and they think, I want to be a Banksy and I want to start painting, and they automatically thinks it just drops, and you do it. Yeah. But it's not. You got to just keep going.
Persistence.
And persistence, and don't let people put you off, don't let people put you off, because it's always their views, not your own,
Art is so subjective, isn't it? So you can't say that is a poor piece of art.
Yes, that's right.
There are certain, say with music, or something has been played completely out of tune, you could probably push it and say, that doesn't sound good, But it is so subjective that there's always a way to explain around it.
Yes.
And that's why of art, it's so big, it's kind of fathomless. Conversation, that's why we started the corner. Conversation about art is never ending. It's like the number 8.
Oh yeah. Just keeps going. Definitely. Yeah.
I think what I like though is you're someone that just looks at art in general. I mean, we got somebody called Tiny on here that is he's saying ask about your photography. Photography is something I'm very much into as well, along with the video work. But it would seem as though you're certainly not pigeonholing yourself into any one particular type of mainstream art. You're whatever it is that inspires you. You just go out and take do whatever.
You're a polymath.
You feel
you're the number one polymath of the corner. Renaissance man.
Yeah, I think the two go hand in hand. Any photography, art, even music photography, everything's got an image. So they all kind of work. And obviously, because probably years ago, people would have a sketch pad and they'd be sketching their little things when they're out and leaving it. Now we've got phones and cameras, so you can click, click, click. If I'm out on some walk and I see some bird, I can click that and I can look through, and that'll help me with if I have to paint something in the future or do something. So it's just like a sketchbook, basically, but they all go hand in hand, definitely.
Yeah, I think one of the things now, though, it is great because, like you said, with the phone, one of the good things about that piece of technology is the fact that it is mobile. You can take it anywhere. You see something you like the look of, you can then take a snapshot of it. I'm the same with videos. I'll watch a piece of film or I'll watch something, and then I like the color grading on that, so that I'll take a snippet of it just so that I can keep it for a later date, and then try and match it up to a video that I make a bit later on. And that kind of draws my attention. But the thing for me though is my love for video came much, much later. Oh, he's disappeared. Where's he gone? Can we still hear you? Oh, there he is. He's back.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Yeah, we can hear. We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Hold on. Sorry about that. I just had a call.
Oh.
it had to happen. Somebody just called me on the phone.
I literally sent a text message out to everybody I know just before we started this, and I basically said, "Call me and die." In the next.
Yeah, I'm like, Anyway,
I was going to say that when I got into all of this sort of stuff, like even music, I suppose, I started singing from a very young age, but I wasn't sort of into that till much later on. And the same with video, it came to me much later on. But you, as an 8-year-old, entered a competition with a hand drawing of a T-Rex. So what was that for? I was just intrigued by that bit of little snippet I saw. So
obviously, right, being younger, and then, obviously when I was younger, I wouldn't say we was poor, but chocolates and all that, they were basically it was great, to get out a box of chocolates. But this art piece it was a big box of chocolates,
Right. That was the competition. That was the prize.
Yeah. Yeah, and then obviously there was a girl at school, I was thinking, sort of thing. So I thought, I'm gonna try and win this. So
that's 8 years old.
I went home. Well, you like friends, you know what I mean. And my mum had this stamp, and it was a stamp, and it had a T-Rex on this stamp. So I thought, I'm gonna draw that basically. So I went home, obviously 19, I can't think, it was like 70, and I had a big piece of paper, and I drew this T-Rex, and I took it in the next day, honestly. And then when we gave it in, the teacher, obviously, he looked at mine, looked at everybody else's, and then I got disqualified because he said I traced it,
What?
But what kind of confused me was, I was thinking, it's common sense. I mean, now, at the time, I was just a little kid, I was sort of upset and everything, but the stamp was that big and the A4 paper was that big, so I thought, how could I have traced something and made it bigger, Did
you not have one of them things at school with the big magnifying glass thing?
Well, that was at school. I went home. We had to take it home. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, used to make things bigger, didn't they? Used to make things bigger, But this was like homework, So I'd take it home, and then you'd come back in, and then you'd say, "There's my drawing," So, and then he'd come round like, artist of the year, pointing and picking the best one, and he just basically, I got disqualified because he said I cheated,
It's crap, isn't it?
In its own way, it was a compliment, because
exactly,
thought so yeah.
But no chocolates.
It's all right. I made up for that when I got older.
Mate, even at 8 years old, where I would have battered someone in that situation. No chocolate.
Well,
there would have been a fight.
Chocolates, yeah, big. It was a big chocolate basket thing. Like, oh gosh, probably had an overdose.
Yeah. Hopefully, the person that won now is just like ate way too many chocolates in their lifetime.
I think he's a teacher. I think he kept them for himself. To be honest,
probably.
Another question. I know that you shared what we're doing tonight out on your own page and stuff like that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I was doing a bit of stalking, seeing who's answering to it, seeing who's liking it.
Yeah.
You seem to have a very kind of quite international kind of friend base. Has that come about via your art, or did you already have a base before?
I'd probably say through art and then music as well. Because obviously, I'm a big fan of Prince. I like Prince. my mum was into Prince, and then I kind of got into him because obviously the James Brown and
the number one
Jimi Hendrix. There's a mix of Jimi Hendrix and all those. So I got into that. But when he passed, everybody was like, so people just making friends, and the music and then a lot of it's come about through that as well. I mean, I'd probably say like it's probably, probably 60% art and then the rest is like music, because I love music, anything to do with music.
When I saw your Prince, because the Prince is my all-time favourite, and I was lucky enough to see him live 4 times.
Yeah, I've seen him twice, should have been 3, but
and when I saw it, that was one of the first bits of work I think I maybe saw of yours, and I was just like, I want that. How do I get that? I want that. But it's really...
Go on, you go.
Sorry, Cameron actually just said something about clothing. Now, this is a collaboration I would love to see. I've got a friend who I don't know whether you're familiar with the name Burbo Couture.
I do know, yeah.
Do you know Burbo?
I know that. Yeah, I know that name.
Burbs he's a lovely guy. He runs a boutique clothing company based in Birmingham. Okay. He'd be a great guest as well, actually. Someone to get on. His clothing's very unique, all one-offs.
Yes.
But I would love to see something in. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe getting involved in clothing, like designing something. Designing something like a boxer's gown.
There's so
or
much
something.
up here. Yeah, there's so much up here. I've just got so many ideas. Sometimes after, it's kind of difficult for me to switch off because I have all these ideas, and obviously I always think like when I was growing up, it was 70s. You had flares. It's a bit more colourful, and then everything's kind of gone. I'm not saying everybody looks the same, but everybody kind of does in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of change. Whereas in the 70s, you could, you'd have a denim jacket with collars and, it was all different. There's more expression. And even with the punk era, all that era, there's more expression. It seems to kind of tame down a bit,
You don't really have, I think that kind of died with the death of scenes.
Yes.
It was quite clear who, he was a rocker, mod.
Yeah.
You were into funk and disco. You were into
yeah.
It's all kind of melded now, isn't it? So you don't really have as many very obvious scenes,
Yeah. I find when I wouldn't say abroad, probably like Germany and Paris, and they still kind of have that because I didn't realise. I mean, I've got a friend in Germany. It's a big, massive funk scene. I remember looking at his posts and. Everybody's, I felt like I'd gone back in time, but I was like, wow, it's just, everybody's just different. They're kind of really, really up on that stuff,
I didn't know Germany got funky. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Bit of German funk.
German's got funk. What I was going to say, you mentioned something about obviously music, and what I found fascinating is pretty much all the guests that we've had on, they have a different craft. So we've had musicians, artists, painters, singers, but out of all of the reoccurring theme is the first love is music, even if they don't actually, they're not actually involved in music. It is music. If you ask Steve would say music. You ask me, I would say music. I'm sure you're the same. It's isn't it? It's kind of just
everybody loves it. I thought that the other day, actually. I wonder if there's anybody out there
who doesn't like music.
I was going to Google it, just who doesn't like it, I wonder. out there, you know.
There's got to be some form of sound that everyone likes, whether you call it music or not. There's got to be something. I mean, you can go back at the beginning of time and music's there in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's just someone banging on a drum or whether it's
the beat. It was the beat.
Yeah, anything with a beat. I mean, at the end of the day, it's I forget who said it. There was, we have a beat literally within us. So
our bodies,
so I think it's only natural that as soon as any kind of rhythm or beat or anything like that kicks in. But also, I think the pop world and rock world back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe a little bit more now, like in the very modern, maybe not so much in the last 10 years, but right this minute, like your Post Malones and people like that, art's starting to come back out. But do you not think that tends to always happen when the world's going to pot a little bit? Like music always seems to slightly maybe come to the forefront, and art in general tends to come to the forefront when everything's going crap, even when the people running the country are telling us we should all retrain and become accountants. The people do you know what I mean?
Let's not spend too long on them.
What was your thoughts on that what was your thoughts on that comment?
I thought it was a lot of rubbish. I mean, what I keep thinking is you've got people who have probably, they've come from nothing. I mean, I was reading about it was Quincy Jones basically, and this is totally different. He used to eat rats basically. He's that poor. So the mum used to send him out and going out for to look for food and everything. He jumped in this old building, and he found a piano in this old building. It had 2 keys basically on this piano. So for him, he used to just play about with this thing, and that's where his love of music came. And now this guy is, he's done all this thing. And then you've got a politician, whoever, telling you that you can't.
Someone from privilege already.
Yes, who can't even.
He was ill-judged to say the least.
Rubbish.
I think the most baffling thing about that comment, I don't want to dwell on this one too long, but the most baffling thing about it is you take theatre, you take concerts, you take art that's being sold around the world, or even just in the UK. You take, just say, those 3 artistic industries. The revenue they create for the UK economy is huge. So how can they just dismissive of it, like being a thing? It's like what they should have done is actually, as soon as he said that, they should have banned him from all TV appearances. They should have said, all right then, well, if you don't like all this stuff, you're not allowed on telly again, you're not going on radio because you don't like sound producers, you don't like,
we're not going to write for you.
Maybe he's the one guy who doesn't like music.
That's a good chat.
No, it is crazy world. But it is great though. For one of the reasons we created the Chaos Corner was just to encourage people to, at the very least, not necessarily make a career of it, but at the very least have the bottle to do something that you love and put it out there. Let the world see it. I think one of the biggest things. How do you deal with? I don't suppose you get it much, maybe you do, but how do you deal with criticism of your work and the comments that come from the internet?
Doesn't bother me. You do get obviously you get a lot of criticism. Sometimes I don't mind. You get constructive criticism, but then you get I've never had it kind of on Facebook. Probably when I'm out, but it never bothers me. It's like fuel, it's just like fuel.
You seem to be the kind of person where, negative or positive, you don't let yourself become too emotionally involved in either praise or the other. And that's the best way.
Just stay in the middle. It just doesn't bother me. If somebody says some things, it can have, it's like I say, I don't know, can I say, if you buy I can't explain it, it's not for everyone, and if somebody doesn't like it, they've probably got a reason why they don't like it. I mean, I remember this guy about 2 years ago. I painted this picture and I was out and I was with my friends and And he looked at me, I don't like that. You know, and that was it. I don't like it. So I said,
That's
look,
all right.
can you just tell me why? I said, oh, it's all right. I said, I'm not bothered. Can you tell me why? He didn't say anything. And I left it, didn't say anything. And then I found out, you know, unbeknown to me, it looked like his ex-wife, you know? So I don't know what to say. I thought, well, okay, that's not, you know, it's that painting provokes so much emotion. I thought, you know,
that's it, yeah.
That's one of those
It
things,
worked.
right?
Talking of wives,
Yeah.
talking of wives, right? I've said this before. One of the biggest and number one things, I follow an entrepreneur online called Gary V. I don't know if you've ever heard of that guy. But
Gary V.
yeah, he's a media mogul, so he's a social media expert. But one of the things he always says is actually a lot of people don't do things mostly because they don't want to disappoint others, so like family and whatever. But the number one, and this was a huge survey that his company did, the number one driving factor behind people not chasing their dreams was their spouse or partner, which I found was really interesting. Now yours, as just said on here, do you think you could squeeze in writing a book during your artistic journey? Then immediately after someone else's comment was, Karen, he's not going to have any more time for you anymore. And then do you think and then she's trying to come up with more stuff. She's like, do you think you have a creative side with blending scents, oils, candles? Like, she doesn't want you to stop creating by the sounds of things.
I'm telling you, when I said she can be my agent, because honestly, she throws ideas. I have to tell her to stop some, but she's got some good ideas. But it's a light enthusiasm.
Ooh, hang on. She's got some good ideas. Karen, what do you think of that comment? She's got some good ideas.
Some.
Yeah. I didn't say like many.
In other words, the rest are mine.
We'll move on from that one very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, what's for the people, we've got people in the group who are just trying to pick names off the top now. Don, you could probably remember more. People like Amy Millard. I want to say Millard.
Amy Millard,
yeah, people like that who have only just really started, sharing their work now, and they create some really good stuff. I've seen 2 or 3 really great pieces. How do you get the confidence to then stick a price on something?
Try and sell it, yeah.
Well, I think sometimes it's guessing. Obviously, I roll with the punches. I think when I sort of got into painting, I used to go around Manchester and I used to get on the train, go to London, go to galleries and look at, not the galleries, like the shops, basically, and have a look at the stuff. And what I found was, like, say you go in and you'd look at that piece of artwork, the price would be through the roof because it's in the middle of London, could go back in a year's time and it would still be there. It's not moving,
Yeah.
So, it's got to catch somebody. And then also as well, the pricing as well, you got to juggle around with that and pricing it as well. I always find it's, sometimes I've sold stuff for, less, because obviously when you start, you got to get your work out there because word of mouth's great,
Yeah.
So if somebody in like, America or, across the world says, oh, I want that painting, but I can't afford it, I can only give it. I'll say, yeah, take it, because that's on the wall and somebody else is going to see it. Yeah. So you got to, it's not always about, you got to get rid of that pride and just, do it for the love of art, get the work out there. Obviously when I first started, I've sold stuff, really cheaply basically, but I don't regret it because obviously it's out there and, people
it gets
can
you
see
to where you are now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bernadette wants to know about your pet raven.
What?
That's not a euphemism, by the way.
Oh. That's like, yeah.
I don't think it is anyway. Is it Bernadette? No, I don't think it is. Have you got a pet?
No, I used to when I was a kid again. I was probably about probably 12. I had a pet crow basically. Well, my friends gave it me. It was a chick. So I basically looked after it and raised it, got bigger and bigger. I think it was a raven anyway. It was bloody huge, this bird.
A crow or raven?
I think it was a crow. It was a crow. I think ravens are bigger,
Roving the bee.
But I think it was she. Yeah, it was a huge bird, So yeah, I think I had it for about 10 years. 10 years.
We're back on. It looks as though people are actually back on the old comments now. So
Yeah,
it looks like we're back up and running. So
Nick
why did they give you that? We actually know someone that used to get given animals on a fairly regular basis that were found.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's not listening because it never ended well for the animal.
I don't know.
She's such a lovely person. We're not going to name because that's not fair, but she's such a lovely person. She would find sometimes if like a bird had been injured or she'd take in stray cats.
Yeah, that's me.
That kind of nature. However, unfortunately, bless her, it always seemed to go quite wrong.
Right.
She had a couple of, I think they were doves, weren't they? She found a couple of injured doves, and she felt she was cuddling the bird because she was saying, "I'm like the bird's mom now."
All right.
And she was cuddling the bird, nursing it to health, and she fell asleep on the couch with the bird on her chest. And unfortunately,
I know where this is going.
And she came into work. She was really, really distraught and saying, "Kill the bird," because she turned over, unfortunately, and
so she fell asleep on it. Oh no!
I know.
Asleep with a bird.
Sorry, no. My face because it was so her.
Yeah.
And she's so sensitive and she's so caring. Something always seems to go wrong.
It's like something off a cartoon, that is. It's
one of the stray cats, which is the irony. One of the stray cats you brought in had the
So she's trying to put them all together, and they're wild animals. Yeah, you can't. No.
Bless her.
It's not a Disney film. It's not Walt Disney.
No, she was definitely It wasn't like how Sleeping Beauty made it. Was it Sleeping Beauty or is it? I don't know. One of them. I don't know Disney stuff. Disney. Me and Donovan talk about Disney. It seems quite a bit.
We got 4 or 5.
Just in the sense that it is the most. I don't know. Like it's run by some evil corporation deep down in the core, isn't it? It's like I'm pretty sure soon we'll all be paying money to them in one way or another just to breathe.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not far off now.
They keep buying everything, don't they? Buying Marvel, buying this, but I'm not. I mean, look, I like some of the things, but I kind of don't. Disney for me, it's too nice with an under,
with a dark underbelly.
Yeah, bit like the child catcher off Chichi Bang Bang. Remember the child catcher?
Yeah.
Go remember that. It is awful. There was a sinister. There's something not quite right.
Yeah. Oh, very much so.
Yeah, definitely.
Monopolies are dangerous, as we know.
Yes.
So what do you think is? I mean, is there something you're working on at the moment that you're allowed to tell people about, or is there something that you think is a big thing that you're looking forward to working on? Is there anything in the pipeline we should look out for?
At the moment, really, I think because I'm just kind of, I mean, I call this, I suppose you'll agree with this. It's like it doesn't matter when how long I've been painting, and I'm still never satisfied with it. But I feel like you said earlier on, this time of being, the choices are taken away. This is my this is where I'm evolving. It's like more practice. So then hopefully when I do get out, when everything, is free and that I can start creating, the things I want to, which are in there at the moment, but obviously now I've just, I've got all my, I don't know if you can see on there, I've got all my brooches, I've got things I want to start on. I keep looking at this one. I'm going to, it's got like QVC now, isn't it? Like I've got this brooch.
You have to do that.
But after, this brooch, but this is, I'm going to work on that one. So just things to, basically, I'm just doing what I want to do, sort of thing, really, so.
You ever thought about doing a live Facebook auction?
I've seen them on there.
People are doing it.
I think, I'd probably start laughing. I mean, like, look, I'll do you guys. I'm all right, but I don't take myself too seriously. I'll do stuff and then I'll start laughing, and then because my brain's all over the place. I'd focus off on something else. It's just weird. I mean, when I went, I don't know if you saw. Sorry, I was just saying I had to do. Made these lipsticks for Mac. It's like little Mac. And I only had to say it was like about 3 lines, and it was like 7 cuts because I just kept laughing. I couldn't take it seriously. And the people laughing, but the guy who was, was on his time, he was getting a bit annoyed. I think he wanted to know, so I had to think of something really bad, to keep myself safe. But I just couldn't take it seriously.
The guy's thinking, dude, it's 3 lines.
Yeah. just couldn't, and I thought, how do they do it? I'm thinking, no wonder they're crazy, because they've got to, I think actors have to go wild because they're pretending to be somebody else for such a long time,
It's so boring as well. It's so... I've been in a few short films because I did drama at uni, and it's... Yeah. In Hollywood, it's really exciting because people are jumping off buildings and explosions are happening and this and that. No, it's not that. No. You say 5 words, they take it from the front, they take it from the side, they take it from the back. Yeah. Then you sit for an hour and they do it again. Yeah. And then they do it again. And then they go on this side and they do it again. It is horrifically boring. It's horrific. Yeah, I bet.
It's not what it certainly wasn't as fun as it's certainly not as fun as the filming that me and my brother did during lockdown 1.0.
Oh, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. Not too many edits on that one though. So.
No, well the person that was filming that actually had just drunk an entire bottle of gin. So
that's key. That's what people do.
Was it like Star Trek? Was it the screen moving?
No, actually, he actually did a surprisingly good job.
Right.
We did this stupid thing, like we decided to start and we wanted to continue, but we've not been able to, called Lack of Budget Films, and it was deliberately awful. So like, we'd rock up with a police car with like a little tiny light, like on your head or something like. But the police car was one of the kids' little toy go-karts or something. You just cart around the back garden. And it was ludicrously stupid, but we had just the most fun ever doing it. And you look at comedy and real. In fact, talking of that, someone asked on a previous question. You look at things like Spitting Image and a lot of TV, but a lot of art, a lot of films have been made as almost like social commentary. Would you ever? Have you ever done any art in that kind of form?
With political.
I haven't. No. No, I haven't. That's probably something like again, it'd be something to look into. I think, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to do something like that, one day, to meet the right people and, get into that,
If you got a lot of orange paint, you could do like a Donald Trump.
Yeah, that man. That man.
This conversation's taken a dark turn.
No.
It's just one man though. The problem's always been there. They've just got somebody to blame now.
But in terms of content, in terms of content though, and imagery and like jokes and comedy and
material, you think?
For material, the guy's an absolute. He's a gold mine, isn't he?
He is. He's funny. He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy.
A funny man trying to be serious.
Yeah. Obviously, you've got your type of art that you do, but what is your favourite type of art form to look at of others?
I like sculptures. I love sculptures. I like we get the big bronze sculptures, Venus de Milo. I love anything like that. Because I always think, how do they do it? Such a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they done these things perfectly. And now, if you got somebody to do this now, they'd have their little machines and
have you watched?
It's the purity, isn't it? It's the purity of it.
Have you watched Ancient Aliens on Netflix?
I keep hovering around it, and I'm like that. I have to be in the mood for it.
You gotta watch that. Me and Donovan talked about this in one of our review podcasts. There are literally because they've tried to recreate some of the sculptures and the precision with some of the Egyptian stuff. For example, no, I don't even think it was Egyptian. It was one of, like the Mayans or somebody like that. There was this one tall pillar and it was really, really high. And it was done just so symmetrical to the point where they measured every single bird and then there was another bird, then a pattern, then there was something else, and then there'd be the same bird again. They were exactly the same size, depth. And the guy said, even if they were to do that today with precision tooling, they probably still wouldn't have been able to do it that accurate. And
yeah.
that I don't know, that just blows my mind.
Do you not think the skills have gone though? I mean, it's like, my
but the tools that they were using though as well were just so ancient and
just basic,
basic,
yeah. And then there were. Sorry,
you meant you were about to mention something about your dad?
No, well, my dad, he was a carpenter,
right,
and he used to make chairs and things, and he was the same again,
like a joiner.
Yeah, and it was all
that's an art in itself.
Yeah, and he just all these things. But now, I know they are still out there, but obviously, you go and if you say, look, you're a multimillionaire, and you think, oh, I want a chair made. To go and find and get that chair made, it take years because there's nobody, you can buy one, but there's not people to make them because they're all sort of
wood to make it into something.
Yeah. The
craftsmanship, I actually found a YouTube video not long ago, and there was a guy who specifically built houses, built his own little life out in the wilderness in America.
Yeah.
But he insisted on living on like Iron Age type tools. So it was like, he just make knives out of rocks and axes out of rocks. But then he also did art from sculpting trees.
Right.
And he was just using tools that he'd had to physically make himself first, and then carve them, and then you saw them, and again you were just like, "There's got to be a level." I'm trying to get into the psyche of someone that can come up with that vision in the first place, but then also be able to concentrate on a level where they can get something so incredibly accurate that even, like you say, like tooling, lasers and things like that would have a hard time doing it. I don't know where people get that level of concentration, determination. I don't know what the word is.
It's I kind of, I wouldn't put it too simple. It's like driving. You get in your car, whether you go on a short journey, or whether you're driving to London, you've got to concentrate. You've got to look there, and it's kind of it's kind of a bit like that, really. It's just that focus, focusing on, something basically, and just sticking to it, basically.
I guess it's also training your body as well. We talked about breathing, muscle memory. You can train your body to adapt the more times you do it in repetition. To adapt yourself to a skill. So I think for me, you have to have a natural talent for it. There are people that are talented at some things that aren't talented at other things. So I think that is a natural born thing. But then you can hone it with obviously practice, and you can hone it by training your body to do things automatically that they might not have done before. Again, like driving, When you have to learn to fight on a car and change the gears and blah blah. When I first realised how much you have to do just to make a car pull away, I thought that's impossible. You can't do that much things at the same time. Now I do it without thinking. You make a journey, you can't remember how you got there. Your body is used to driving. You trained your body to do that. So I think that's probably part of it, but I don't know.
It's different,
So what, other than art, forget about art for a second, do you ever get a chance to do anything else? Like, what's... do you do... I mean, you look in shape. I mean, you do exercise. What do you do? Anything other than is all consuming?
I think no. It's like I said before. Of course, I go to the gym. I used to run. Plenty of exercise. I mean, now it's just a skipping rope basically, just to keep myself, fit in that. But other than that, it's like I say, just socializing. Obviously I do. If some days I'm really busy. And I can have you get a few commissions and they'll take me weeks, sort of thing. Yeah. And when I'm free from that, then I'll socialise. But it's like I say, it's all different now, So obviously, it's just Netflix, and I look for films on there, and I watch a few good things. I put them all to one side though. I've saved a lot of stuff at the moment, which I'll work my way from.
It's been a really good year for internet TV providers, hasn't it?
Oh, I bet they've loved it.
Yeah. They've been like that, you know.
They've done well this year.
You know.
Somebody said something. I think it was like a meme that I saw online, and I thought it was brilliant because I was just like, "Oh my god, that's me." And I don't know how you guys feel, but he says you realise suddenly how antisocial you are when lockdown hasn't really affected your life that much.
Yeah,
It hasn't. It hasn't. No.
it's so true.
Yeah.
So true. And
Like I love people. I love people. I love talking to people, but in doses. And I'm sure everybody's the same. But
Yeah.
But one of the things I love about doing
they enjoy their own company quite a lot, don't they?
Yeah,
I think being an artist, you kind of do enjoy your own company sometimes.
Yeah.
Or quite a lot.
I think as he's getting older, definitely more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It does change. Like I said, I've kind of always been not a loner, you know, I'm social, you know, I do socialise, but even when I was at school, you know, I'd go and play on my own, you know, and the teacher thought I was weird because my imagination, you know, I'm playing with things, and they thought I was a bit strange because I was playing on my own, but I wasn't antisocial.
Yeah.
I just had a good imagination.
You were creating things, scenarios, and that's it.
I wonder if that might be something that's a common theme with artists then, because my brother, who Donovan knows, he's incredibly talented artist. He's actually an award-winning photographer now.
All right, cool.
But for the most part, when we were kids, I'd be outside just getting absolutely plastered in mud, playing and, you know, playing football and doing things like that. He would literally sit and draw. Maybe I should share some of his work with you, actually, because his drawings, though, are maybe a bit different to yours in the fact that he draws things that are incredibly lifelike. And he would literally, like you said about your mom, he would sit and draw sometimes. I always remember there's this one picture in particular. He sat as a young kid and he was on the living room floor. I must have left the house at like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And he's working on this picture, and he's like really close to the paper, and he's hours, and he's really young as well at this point. I'm talking about 10 years old. And he's drawing this man in like a body armour suit. But at this point, he'd only started on the head. Right. 3 hours later, I come back, he's still on the head. By the night time, and I'm talking like we had to go to bed, it was the weekend, we stayed up a bit later, he was just about halfway through the picture. He'd been drawing for hours and hours and hours. Anyway, when he finished it, I was just remember looking at it and kidding, going, how?
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
How do you see it like that and then it end up on the paper?
Yeah, he wasn't copying it off anything, was he?
No, he just come straight out of his head.
Yeah.
But how do you do that? Like, I can't, because that's one thing I think I struggle with the most. I have ideas. When I did my art project, and we go back to the school, this goes back to the school thing. This is a great question to ask you. I consider myself terrible at art, right? But my brother, insanely talented. He got an ungraded in art, GCSE art, and I got a B. Almost, and I was only a tiny bit off an A. My artwork in practice, the practical was terrible, but my theory, whatever that means in art, my theory and the paperwork bit, I did really, really well. Right. And that got me a much higher score than the brilliant art, actual art, that my brother was creating. So going back to the school thing, it's just not geared properly for artists or entrepreneurs even, or anyone like that. How incredibly frustrating is that, though, for kids who have a talent for art?
It is. I mean, I'd be, most of my lessons, I'd probably be stood in the corner, because I used to get frustrated. I couldn't kind of get my head around stuff, and I'd have these ideas, and I couldn't do them because obviously the teacher says, right, today we're going to draw a cup, or an apple, and I didn't want to draw an apple. I wanted to draw scenery and stuff, So she didn't want me to do it. She wanted me to do this. So then I'd be like frustrated because I couldn't. I just found it not enough for me. It was just a cup or an apple. I wanted to do something, more, But it's like I say, schools are, you get a teacher, they go to school, they have to teach you as a group, unless you come from, your parents are loaded and you can have a, but they have to teach you as a group, But for me, my world, I'd love it if, you could teach kids and you saw what they was good at, and you could make that evolve, And
grow that,
and grow that, instead of just putting them through a churning, thing.
I think we've spoken about it before, Steve, where we've said the thing that's terribly lacking within the educational system is the importance of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So finding something you're good at and finding a way of making money out of that thing that you're good at.
Yeah.
It sounds too simple. It sounds simple, but that should be taught to people when they're young.
Yeah.
You know, how to make that into a career. Because
especially in the modern world.
You work from there.
Yeah.
Especially in the modern world where the internet makes things so accessible. I know someone who sells. They basically take old furniture and restore it, and then they sell it on eBay. Yeah. They just sell it on eBay. They just stick a bid price, what they want as a minimum price, and then it sells. Yeah. It just feels like there's got to be a big shake-up in the arts industry. But then when you've got the man at the top telling us we should all retrain, I mean, that's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? I do feel sorry for kids who are currently thinking, well, hang on, I've just signed up for a 7-year degree in music or art or whatever it is they're going to do. It's costing me £9,000 a year, and I've got this fella over here telling me we should probably retrain and work in call centres. Yeah. It's pretty bad. How do you feel about the future of art, like in that respect, or do you think it'll just find a way through as it always does?
I think it'll find a way. It's been here for years. People have tried to,
We've been through worse.
It's been burned. It's been, it's been destroyed. It's been stolen. It finds a way. I always think the man at the top. The way I look at it, I won't get started on it, but I always say they want everybody to be pets.
Yeah.
Right. Now you think about it. Now it doesn't matter. My parents and people who work to save money to have a better life. They don't want that person anymore. They want people to just spend money, right?
Yeah.
They don't want you to have a skill or anything. They just want you to spend. So even, I know it sounds mad, even the alcoholic, the heroin addict, they all go and spend money somewhere. Whether they're buying more drink, and it's just they're getting money, and then it goes out to their hands back into buying drink.
System,
Whereas me, whatever, my daughter, I'll be trying to save money for my daughter, or whatever. They don't want that anymore. That's why they give people such a hard time. I mean, I've had jobs where people have kicked off about pensions because the government will try and get hold of the pension. That money they've kind of saved for years, and look, we're going to throw you home. You pay for that with your pension or your house, what you've saved up for such a long time. They don't want us to have anything, but they want to keep it all. So we're like the pets, just running around, sort of providing. Which puppets. I got away from that, break away from it.
What is the thing? You're like the ultimate bad guy because the resource that you're putting together is maybe not massive expenditure that you're using, but then you're generating something that you're making your own money from that is creative. So you're not spending enough money, Hedley.
Well,
you're making it.
It's like I said, I'm just at that thing there where I'm like, gosh, things I want to do and I can't do them, and I have to just think right, So it's one of those. I mean, maybe my era, I've always I didn't have anything, My mum said save and put money to one side, and I know people who have done really well. I mean, you've only got to look at some of the famous people. They've done really well. They've ended up with nothing. Because they've just been buying this, that, and buying that car, and buying this, and and it doesn't sustain itself. It doesn't. So you've got to have that sort of.
It doesn't sustain you in the end as a person. There's only some things you can buy that make you feel good, and then what? That's what I always say.
It does. If you get that buzz, But me, I just get a buzz from little things. If I find a brick that looks a different shape, and then I laugh to myself. So I think, God, if anybody could see me getting bloody, excited about a different shaped pebble with different colours in it, I would have never thought I would have been like that when I was, 15. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God,
Talking of art and from youth, did you see the interview this morning with the young lad who's known as, I think, Doodle Boy?
I don't. Do you?
Have you seen it? I've actually seen his work before.
That rings a bell. Actually,
he actually he got commissioned to do an entire restaurant wall once. That was his first big job.
Yeah.
And now he's just been commissioned some work by Kate and Will. They want him to do something, and then he's got himself this massive publishing deal. He's 11 years old. It's wow. But it just shows, if you don't put it out there, no one's going to see it. Nothing's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just that simple, really.
But that's what I said again. It's like confidence, I mean, I know as well, social media, there's some fantastic artists into Instagram. I see stuff and I'm like, wow, but what I've got a friend I keep telling him as well, you go on Facebook and yes, you got like 20,000 likes, but what I realize is now I've got an art page. And I change it anyway because Facebook is saying boost your post, pay £3 free. And I thought, well, likes don't pay the bills. They might pay for Facebook's bills, but they aren't paying mine. And if two people like them, that's fine. If they don't, then I'm still enjoying what I'm doing. Yeah. So it's just, basically, it's just being lucky. Just things just seem to just fall into place and.
It's lucky, but it is what you've done is you put yourself out there. It might not happen. It might be unlikely that it will happen if you put yourself out there, but it can't happen if you don't. It's impossible.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get cut off soon again, aren't we?
I think we are, because
it's been cool. I've really enjoyed it.
We're recording this video as well as streaming. To be fair, I'm doing this from an iPad at the moment, so I've actually recorded the whole thing as well as streaming live for like 90 minutes now, which it's amazing, again, talking about technology, that we can even do that.
It's fantastic.
So I'm really excited for the future going forward, but as a first live guest we've ever had on the show.
Thank you. It's fab. Thank you very much.
It's been incredible to just get a little snippet into the way your mind
it's
works.
Never long enough, is it? But
no. I mean, we could sit here and talk for days. I'd have a million things to ask. But what I would strongly suggest is everybody goes and follows Hedley's work. Don't forget to follow us as well on.
I'll put people in and I'll.
But where can people find you? Obviously, you mentioned Instagram, Facebook. What's your handle? How can they find you?
Well, normally it's like they just type my name on the web, and stuff will just come up. There's stuff.
To be
on
fair,
there,
if you Google him, he does.
Just
comes
easy.
Up.
Yeah, it does. It makes me laugh sometimes because people will inbox me and say, "How can I get older if you want my work?" And I'm like, "Well, you're talking to me now. You can ask." It's so frustrating because I never know what to say, But it's just so easy, easy now.
It's because a lot of people on social media now, even those that aren't that big, so to speak, now they run it like businesses, and a lot of people don't even respond. They don't even respond to their own, their own ads. So we got a few people saying thank you for doing the interview.
That's cool.
People that really enjoyed sort of listening to you. But like I said, everybody jump on, go and find his work, go and have a look, buy some of it.
Thank you, guys.
Go buy some.
Yeah.
But no, it's
I'll do it with your pocket, man.
I'm really fascinated by artists, and I've been really lucky enough to have two artists on this podcast now that genuinely producing like really extraordinary work.
We're in awe.
Thanks, guys, man. Yeah, it's cool.
So very, 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 very happy. But mate, all the best. Stay on, and we'll just stay on just after I switch this off. We'll just wrap up. But thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the pages. If you missed some of this within the next 24 hours, it will be up on Spotify.
You talk yourself
podcast. I've got a big horse. Yeah, we got. It'll be coronavirus. We got. It'll be on all the platforms. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So thank you very much. Until next time.
Catch you on the corner.
Thank you.